What's good, YouTube? Flash Speaks back for another video. Okay, man. Last night was the WNBA draft. I definitely watched it. Now this video is just going to be my opinion of what choices the Chicago Sky specifically have made. Right? I'm not going to talk about other teams, in this particular video. This is specifically, Chicago Sky moves, what I thought of them, and what I think they may be possibly trying to do. Jeff Pagliocca and Tyler Marsh and the crew, what they may be trying to do this season based on the moves they've made thus far. Okay, so just running through the draft real quick, man. The whole time I'm sitting there hoping that the Chicago Sky would get Sellers. That was really the player I wanted, Cheyenne Sellers. But I kind of resigned myself to the idea that she would not be there. This is based on my research of her, as well as I took the time to watch a couple of the games that she played in, and I thought, man, this is a dominant player. I saw very few flaws in her game. She's 6'2", can play point guard, a great passer, a great transition player, can get her own shot, good around the paint area, good in the mid-range area, just pretty much everything that I look for, in a player, and I thought it would be a great player to have because of her size, and she should have a good ability to connect with, say, Angel Reese, Camila Cardosa, in pick and roll action, and I thought, hey, and now what was so frustrating about the night is she doesn't go to way late in the draft. I don't know what that was about. She goes way second or third round somewhere, I believe second round, right? To the new team, the Valkyries. I didn't know what the hell was going on. So by the time we get to around the third pick, which one I'm going to talk about, Aisha Khalibali. Hopefully I'm pronouncing her name properly. She has one of those Mandinka names. So I'm like, I'm done. I don't know what the F these dudes are doing. This dude need to be fired. Pagliocca, I don't know what the hell. I don't know if these are moves to try to fix the image of the team, like some believe. I didn't know what the hell was going on. I just couldn't get it. All right, then I go and I kind of research some of the players, and I'll say I feel a little bit better about it. Just thinking about it, contemplating over it, over and over, looking at the complete roster that they have so far. Obviously, a number of these ladies are not going to make it. I don't know how many of the draft picks will. I don't know. The players that were already there previously, how many of them will still be there? I don't know. So I'm going to try to talk about all of that, and we'll see, man. Right now, there's 17 players on the on the active roster, according to ESPN. If this is an accurate thing to go by. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Yeah, 17. All right. Obviously, a number of them are not going to be there because, from what I understand, the team is only allowed to keep 12 players. All right. They have to have at least 11, and they can have up to 12. And we got 17 here, which means 5 or 6 will not be here. So that's pretty sad for any of those ladies who won't be there. Now, let's go over the draft here. So the Chicago Sky at number 10, they take the first Aisha from Aisha Sivka, right? A player from Slovenia, right? Yeah, and I was lost. I don't know. Now I've seen her name on draft boards, okay, but I don't watch overseas women's basketball. Just got into American basketball. I somewhat remember her in the Olympics, but I don't, not really. I don't pay attention to all of them unless they do something where they really stand out, So I look into it, and she appears to me to be, okay, a forward, all right, 6'4". I like the size. Wingspan is long. Okay, I couldn't get the exact numbers on her wingspan. I couldn't find that, right? But I like her size. I like looking at some of the clips that were available. Her wingspan was very useful in defense, okay, which is good. I don't know if she's like a really good defender. For that, I have to study footwork, all of those different things. I would also like to see her stick some American players in an American style setting. So I can't really comment on that. It's difficult with these overseas players, at least for me, to determine that. They run a totally different style of game, not as physical from what I'm seeing. They do get physical in the international play like the Olympics, but it looks like their game, from what I'm seeing, doesn't look physical enough for me to be able to judge how she would be in the W when it comes to defense. Now, looks like she can shoot. Okay. Now look at her numbers. Her numbers have gradually gotten better. I believe it was just last season, if I'm understanding these numbers right. She finally got over 40% from three, which is good. But just looking at the highlights, it looks like she's used in those situations as a floor spacer. So I'm assuming that's what they're thinking. A stretch 3 wing or a stretch 4. I guess that's what they're thinking. They're taking her. There's their first pick. So I'm assuming they plan on using her. That's the way the NBA works, right? I'm like I said, I'm still learning the W. The W may be just completely different. This is some of the things I'm finding out here, right? I can't assume what NBA teams do is going to equate to what WNBA teams do. I am learning that. All right, so after thinking about it, I guess I get what they're doing with this Sivka. Seems like it's more of like a fit thing and more of like a something for the future. I don't know if she's going to be impactful right away. I don't expect so. Don't even know if she'll play a lot. Personally, she's not going to play the 4, I'm sure. At least not. She's not starting 4. Definitely not starting 5. So if we're talking at the 3, does she start? If anything. So for that, does she beat out players like Onion Were and others is the question. I don't know. When we look at the 4s on the team, 3s, I'm sorry. Who does she beat out? I don't know. Rebecca Allen, will they use her? And we'll talk about her in a second. I know she's a guard, but so I'm thinking they're seeing her as maybe a 3, to challenge maybe Onion Were there at that spot. All right, but I don't know if she beats her out. Onion Were gives you defense, and she can get her own shot. All right, so then we go to the number 11 pick, and here I'm hoping again sellers. All right, and so it's announced Hailey Van Lith from TCU, and I'm like, I'm mixed feelings about it. Now listen, I like Hailey Van Lith, I do. I got a chance to watch her pretty much a little bit this season. I finally started tuning into TCU at the suggestion of one of the brothers, Jared Thomas, who long time follower of the channel, right? And I started watching her, and I like her. I like her game. She reminds me a lot of one of my favorite players in the W, Kelsey Plum, left-hander who has good handles, can get to her shot wherever she wants, pretty much. I like her game. She is decent mid-range. She can hit the 3-point. She can hit the 3 ball. She can dish the ball. There's discussion as to whether or not she's a real point guard or not. Like, I'm starting to I get what people are saying when they say that, but I'm starting to get away from some of those types of, just because of the way they play now. They'll put her at the point guard. And then number two, I don't assume that just because someone looks one way in college, that's just the extent of what they'll be able to be in the pros. Now, I get you can't assume people will get better, but me, and the way I think, I always leave room for that. Like, college players, that's college, just because they were a certain way 2 years ago in college and maybe failed at a particular thing. Does that mean they're just going to be trash? And I don't do that. Like, I know it's crossing sports, but like, what do people say about Jalen Hurts? I mean, there are people still now to this day, well, Jalen Hurts never did anything because they remember in Alabama, and people for some reason act like development isn't a thing. I disagree with that type of thinking. Development is a thing, and so on. All right, so I would say the Van Lith pick is something I don't have a problem with. And then I'm also hearing that it's possible that Angel Reese was really clamoring to get Hailey Van Lith. She's a good friend of hers, apparently, off the court, former teammate there at LSU. And overall, I think that's a good thing. It's a good thing for Chicago, because if Chicago is going to invest in Angel Reese, in her being there, her being one of the cornerstones of the team, that's a good gesture to do that. To completely ignore her can be counterproductive, because let's be for real, Angel Reese's contract ain't forever. And when players decide whether or not they're going to re-sign or if they'll hit the free agent market, these types of things sometimes will factor in, right? So I think that's a good move from that standpoint, for Chicago. And then number two, Hailey can play. She can play. Now, will she be as good as Kelsey Plum? I don't know. I think all of the skills are there for that to possibly happen. And if that was to happen, that's all good, man. She played 5 years in college, get a lot of experience there. Been through a lot of ups and downs. Personally, I like players that have been through ups and downs. That shows some sort of resiliency. It gives you a window into their mentality. And whether or not the Chicago's picked any players that are dogs or whatever, we all have our view on it. Now, what I do like about Hailey sees herself as a dog. She sees herself in that way, and I think that's important. Being that dog is a mindset, it's a mentality. And then she also says about Angel Reese, and this is one of the things that Angel Reese haters don't get, and what Angel Reese fans love about her is that Hailey Van Lith said that Angel can bring things out of her that weren't, that weren't there, like, or she could bring out of her, she could make her better than she was, right? And that's the type of making a player better that I believe in. I don't believe in just people who pass the ball to players make players better. I believe it's more of a mindset thing. If you can instill confidence in players, right? You can inspire them. I do believe in that type of making a player better, right? But just passing someone the ball, for them to get an easy layup, to me, is not making players better. And that's something I would like to discuss in a separate video one day, because I think that's an often misnomer people use. All right, so I'm positive about the Hailey Van Lith pick. I think the girl can play. Now, whether it translates to the WNBA, we'll see. And that's why you have a guy like Tyler Marsh, who is a player development specialist. I keep hearing from everybody that he's a player development guy. All right, so you figure it out. Now, whether or not Hailey Van Lith will be able to work with Angel Reese, well, obviously Angel Reese thinks so, right? Now, we can have our opinion, whether or not she's too short to execute pick and rolls, properly, whether or not she'll be able to see over defenders who will be. I just find it hard to believe that they haven't thought about that. I don't know. I could be wrong. You know what I'm saying? But I find it hard to believe they didn't think about that. Now, is she a better pick than Sellers? At this point, I don't think so. But what do you know? Maybe there's something going on with Sellers. Typically, unless the WNBA is just really strange and they're just really hating, or it was like something set up to where it's just corruption, where you want the Valkyries to end up with her, or something like that predetermined. This is something like that. Typically, when players drop, at least I know in the NFL, stuff like that, is the teams, organizations have a little bit more insight into maybe injuries than we might, than what's put out there. When they're going to draft these players, man, they talk to doctors, they talk to physicians, they talk to, all types of staffs, medical staffs, where she was, stuff like that, and they gather information. So it could be something like that. You never know. When it comes to why Cheyenne Sellers didn't go to Chicago. But I'm going to tell you, last night I was pissed off. I was almost ready to be done with Chicago Sky, for real. Hey, look, it ain't a Philly team, so you ain't gonna get that type of loyalty, But I follow them, pretty much. That's my W team, but I'm starting to like Dallas. I do. Dallas got my favorite player, Carrington, and then he just added Page, who could become my favorite player. Definitely gonna be one of my favorite players. Yeah, I'm kind of be watching Dallas too, and then you got the Sparks, got my girl Plum. My Plum, and then Rakia. Yeah, them three teams, I'm liking. Okay, anywhere where Rakia is, you know what I'm saying. I'm gonna like that team. So, at any rate, so basically, I'm okay with the first two picks. The first player, Sivka. I guess I get it. I get the role she can play. When you have Angel and Camilla, you want floor spacers. That, when the defense collapses on them, presumably, because they're still going to be the best front court in the league. You can kick it out. You can kick the ball out to like a Sivka. You can kick it out to Vanlith, who can get her own shot, or who can shoot the three, and at times can get hot. So I get the vision. I just don't, I don't know yet. I just don't speak on European players who I haven't seen a lot. Okay. The next pick, I believe, was the second Aisha, who was from Mali, Khalibali. Okay. Now, when this pick first came in, I was livid. I was pissed off, and that's because I didn't know. I didn't know who she was, right? For some reason, I thought it was the player from UConn, that's from Egypt, okay? And I was ticked off, but I should have known that player wasn't even I don't think in the draft yet anyway, right? So, after I did my research, I felt a lot better about it, okay? So apparently she's a 6 foot guard, okay? But I don't. Is she a guard or forward? It confused me. Sometimes in the W, these things are just like Dejanay Carrington to me is a 3, but they say she's a 2. I don't know. But that's kind of like who this player reminds me of, sorta. 3-and-D player, slasher, athletic. Can play defense. I don't know why she's getting a rap by some out here that that Chicago didn't pick up any defenders. No, she can play defense. If you look at her numbers, her steal numbers, and so on, and her athleticism, yeah, she can play defense. I don't. For some reason, they're saying her damn stats aren't available. I don't understand. Which is weird. I just looked her stats up there. the other day. Let me see. All right. Right. Yeah, she was averaging over 2 steals. Like she's in college, 5 years, and it's 3 of those years she's averaged over 2 steals a game. Now the thing with her, she's not much of an outside shooter. But according to scouts, she has decent mechanics, right? So, we'll see how that goes, right? Now, the one thing they're not providing is advanced defensive metrics. This is the one thing I was looking for that I couldn't find on her. So I'll have to kind of catch some live games to get a better idea. But, you're talking about, that's what she was described as. That's what her comp is, a 3-and-D player. Okay? So I would say that Chicago did pick up 2 dogs. She, I believe, is one. I mean, by all accounts here, you ain't going to be from Mali and Bamako and these types of places and you just some punk. I just don't think so. You 6 foot, you're an athlete. You done average 2.3 steals in a season. 2.2 steals. At the very least, you playing some defense. I don't know how you would do that without that. You know what I'm saying? So I don't have a problem with her as a pickup from that standpoint. And then Tyler Marsh might feel like, hey, he can develop her. Look at what he did with Jackie Young, So there's that. And then the last player was the one I really didn't understand much at all why they did that. That's Maddie Westbeld, 6'3" forward. I'm guessing they see her as for depth, to back up Angel Reese. And that I get. She has a decent low post game from what I saw. I do remember her at Notre Dame, but I was mostly paying attention to, Hidalgo, Miles, and Sonia, Citron. I was paying more attention to them, All right, so I guess I'm okay with West, but it's just it's more so there were other players available, man. I wanted one of those girls from South Carolina. It's more so there were other players I wanted that we didn't get. But when I'm looking at this, I still think they have the makings of to be a, pretty decent team here. All right, so we're assuming, and I don't know, what's the starting 5? Camilla and Angel, we know that. Ariel Atkins, who will be the star in that backcourt, without a doubt. Excellent pickup, veteran, has championship pedigree, 5-time All NBA All Defense teams. So that's the star of it all for me in the backcourt. And then you have Courtney Vandersloot. Okay, I'm thinking Vandersloot is the one. All right, she'll probably start all year. I don't know how the minutes will work. I don't know what Tyler Marsh is expecting from his point guard. I don't know how he'll be or treat her or what. I don't know how that's going to go. But I know she was probably brought here for that. And the development of those young ladies is paramount. Talking about Angel and Camilla. At the 3 is the question mark for me. At the end of the season, Michaela Onyenwere had that spot, and I don't know if that's what he's going to go with. I don't know. Will one of the rookies get that spot? That I don't know. I don't see Onyenwere getting beat out by any of the rookies, right? Or at least right away. So I'm going to assume she gets the spot right now. Okay? Now, the bench is where it gets interesting. This bench will be way better than last season's bench. Well, so you got Elizabeth Williams coming back. Apparently, she'll probably be the backup center for Camilla. You got Angel Reese is backup. I don't know if they're going to go with more of a veteran like a Morgan Birch. I don't know if they're going to do that. I don't know if you're going to back her up with like one of the rookies is Ajsa Sivka, who I kind of see as a 3 here, but Angel doesn't sit much anyway, so I don't know how much that'll be. Or does Westbed get that backup spot right away? I don't know how Tyler Marsh does. Some coaches don't mind playing rookies, like whatchamacallit last year was Spoon. I don't know how Tyler Marsh is at all. I don't know. I think this is his first head coaching job in the W, so I don't know. At the guards, I think Kid Nurse is our first backup. I'm thinking Hailey Van Lith is the backup point guard. If not, I'm not understanding a lot. I'm definitely not understanding why you got her. I'm not understanding that at all. I got Hailey Van Lith. If she's not the backup point guard, I don't know what's going on and what we're doing. And then I got her maybe pushing Vandersloot if Vandersloot isn't up to par. I got Van Lith possibly pushing her for that starting job there. That starting point guard. Other than that, what are they going to do? Go with Rachel Banham, who I don't like. Mariah Jefferson, who I don't like. I don't like either one of those players. Rebecca Allen, whose game I like, vet, but I don't know. She's coming back she's recovering from a back surgery. So I don't know when she'll be ready, and if so, how many minutes she'll get, how that works. They say the back surgery was successful, but you just never know with those things. But if it's me, Banham is gone, Jefferson is gone. And then you also have this Arella Garantes, a guard from Puerto Rico, right? I remember her somewhat from the Olympics, and I remember watching his highlights. I like the way her game looks, but I don't know. Is that your backup 2 guard instead of Kid Nurse? How does that work? I don't know. Can she run some point? I don't know. These are questions. How many guards are they going to keep versus forwards? All those different things, I don't know. Alex Wilson, I know nothing about. Yeah. Well, this is what I see. This is what I'll say. I believe the Chicago Sky will be a better team than they were last year, without a doubt. I think they are that right now. I got them finishing either 6th. Yeah, be 5th or 6th, I think. 6 is more than likely, probably. You know, I maybe a slow start at the beginning of the season. You know, a lot of new pieces working together. Have to find a rhythm. Have to find an identity. But I think around game 12, 13, I think they pick it up. You know, start playing a lot better and go on a little bit of a run. And probably go from maybe being 9th or 10th to moving up to about 6th or 5th. This is the way I see it. But who knows, man? Tell me what you guys think. And peace out till next time I come back. And I definitely want to discuss Dallas, man. Because Paige Beckers, you know, that's going to be something. And I also like some of the other picks they made. So let me know what y'all think, man. Peace out.